All right, guys, this is the second video in our 5-part series on 5 ways or 5 things that you definitely don't want to do if you want to hit your goals. 5 mistakes to avoid. So this is number 2, and this is called splitting your focus. So you may have heard this before, but I want to explain it in a different way. When you have multiple things going on, as all of us do, that's fine. I mean, obviously, a lot of you are still in a full-time job and you're trying to work on your entrepreneurial gig so you can free yourself from that job. We've all been there. I know I've been there. But when you are focused on one thing, you have so much more power. So let me give you an analogy on this. So imagine you've got a piece of pie and it represents 100%. Maybe it's your favorite type of pie, apple pie. As soon as you start splitting it apart, maybe you've already got 50% that has to go to your day job, right? So you, right now, financially, you cannot stop that. If you could, that'd be great. But if you can't, you still have to give 50% to that. So now you've only got 50% left dedicated to becoming an entrepreneur and to hitting these goals. So when you go to approach something like that, you have to be super focused on that one thing that you're working on. Because when you're saying, okay, well, let me give you an example. I'm doing multifamily investing, but I also want to do storage. And I also want to look at single family home investing. Like, the more you do that, the more you split yourself apart. So you only had 50% to start with because you got a full-time job. Now you split that up into 3 different places. So now you've got, what, like 18% on each one. And the people you're competing with are 100% in. So this is something that you really have to think about in your life if you really focus. And we're going to talk more about in some of our later videos here on how to know what to focus on. That's very important. But if you want to be successful, you really have to give 100% of your attention units. Imagine it like you have attention units. Maybe you've got 100 of them. Maybe you've got 10,000 of them. Whatever the number is, the more of those, if you can put 100% of those on one thing at one time and just go all in on that, turn your phone off, turn everything else off, and be completely focused, that is an art that is completely lost in today's society. Most people can't even watch a TikTok video for 30 seconds. So this is extremely important, as basic as it sounds, and maybe you've heard it before, but without focus, you're not going to be successful because it takes a massive amount of energy to get a new project off the ground. When you have a goal of maybe buying 1,000 multifamily units or making $1 million in a year for the first time, whatever that goal is, oftentimes we're starting close to zero, right? So we have to really get going. It's like starting a locomotive. I mean, to get a locomotive moving, imagine you've got a team of 20 people turning the wheels and they're barely just getting it moving a couple inches. You don't even see any progress. But once it gets going and you get that momentum, that's when you really start to be successful. And in order to get that started, you have to have that 100% focus, literally wearing the blinders. You guys have heard me talk about that before. And have those blinders on and just be completely focused. So if you're out of focus, you need to go back and look at why you're doing it. We're going to talk more about that in the next videos.